Oh, these podcasters are definitely on my naughty list for using very bad words and talking about things that, well, make Santa very sad. Little boys and girls, don't you listen now. Big boys and girls, well, use your best discretion, okay? And make sure the kids aren't within earshot of this crap, all right? Otherwise, it's permanent naughty list for you.
December 25th. A time of joy and celebration, at least it was. Those leftist commie are trying to take away your Christmas spirit and tear your families apart. And that is just the beginning. The brave men and women of the radical right are using their voices to fight for God, country, and Santa Claus. When Muslim Obama says you can't wish a Merry Christmas to your fellow American, you tell him, yes, we can. They want you to say goodbye to Christmas trees, eggnog, and lights, and hello to liberal oppression. Help us save Christmas. Refuse the holiday cups and non-denominational well-wishers. Do your part. Fight back with us in the war on Christmas.
So arm yourself with candy canes, tinsel, and ornaments. Gather the troops and hop in the sleigh. It's time to go to battle. It's the war on Christmas. And we're here to jingle some bells and deck some halls. I'm your head elf, Matt, and this is the Going There podcast.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. Good tidings for Christmas.
It's beginning to look a lot like Going There. Taboo topics are back on the table.
I hope you're feeling festive because this is a festive episode. Welcome back to the Christmas edition of the Going There podcast. Before we get into all of this, let's introduce our panel. I have a really awesome person to my right, Mrs. Claus herself.
Hi, I'm Mary Factor, and I've been Mrs. Claus for over 13 years.
And I met Mary as, in the production business. She's an actress, and you also do some public speaking and things like that.
Yes, I do a one-woman comedy show that I wrote 35 years ago called The 6 Ages of Woman. I'm also in the union and do films and industrial films and commercials. And I do Mrs. Claus and other characters.
Thank goodness. You can probably only see so much, but man, this is like the classic. This looks like a film costume because it's like fine details. She's even got this nice white fur backdrop on her. And I have my other Santa's helpers to my left. Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Erin Arroyo. I am a technical writer on a government contract, and I think I'm the token half Jew on this panel. So
always got to have one.
Yeah.
And then you guys recognize the Grinch. I mean, you guys recognize Lindsay, who's super excited to be here today.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. You know me, so I don't think I need to introduce myself, but a producer and happy to be here to talk about one of my favorite times of year.
This episode is going to be full of naughty and nice. The naughty is we got to talk about the things that really piss us off and be candid about it. And there's nothing like hearing Mrs. Claus use cuss words, so I'm really excited about that. And the nice is we need to sprinkle in the joy because that is what the season is about, right? It's about kindness and joy. So the people who have been saying that there's a war on Christmas from the beginning are just trying to light fires and trying to piss people off. And it's typically ultra-conservative pundits, radio hosts, people who want to get on there and say they're trying to cancel Christmas. And it's fake. It's fake news. It really is. So before we jump into that, let's talk about what we love about this season first. And I will start by saying I love Christmas because I hate fall and I am not a fan of cold. But I got to tell you, like once you start seeing the Christmas lights, like even decorating today was just so happy and magical. Christmas gives you this time of like anything's possible. There's magic back in the air. And it's it's a short period of time. I feel like it's short-lived, but it's the one time where it's like, hey, I kind of expect people to be a little bit kinder, a little bit more forgiving. And I kind of hope that other people see it that way. How about you guys? What is your favorite part about the holiday season?
So honestly, I love everything about Christmas, the holiday season. I love it all. I love like the smells of it, like the cinnamon, and I love being with my family. I recently moved back to the area so I can be with my family this year, which is really nice. I love buying people things and watching them open them. And I have a small son. He's almost 4. And so we put up our Christmas tree, and he's obsessed with the lights. He just loves it. And so just seeing the joy on his face really makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm not a parent, but I talk to a lot of parents who say like all of that fun excitement from Christmas as a kid, like you get to re-experience it through your child. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. And you really live it up.
Right before Thanksgiving, the Akron Children's Hospital has their tree festival, and that's their annual big fundraiser. And people decorate trees, and then they auction them off. And there's always Mr. and Mrs. Santa, or at least a Santa, and the families get in free, and they come, and there's a line that is nonstop from the minute the shift starts to when it ends. And the children, it's all free photos. You can take as many as you want with your cell phone. You don't have to pay for it. And we just love seeing the children. And we see everything from the child who's very self-obsessed and wants all the big expensive electronics to the child that just wants their mommy to be happy. Or we had one little boy that wanted his daddy out of prison. And it breaks your heart when you hear those stories. And it's just a very magical time by being there every year. That starts our season. And then we have other events as the time goes on.
So are you seeing this war on Christmas we've been hearing about?
Never. In 13 years of doing this, I have never, ever heard anybody say, you can't say Merry Christmas, or you shouldn't be doing this, or never. It has never occurred. Everybody is happy to see Santa Claus. I don't care what religion you are or whatever. It's just nice. You wave, they say hi, they want their picture taken. And it's, I've just never seen it. This supposed war on Christmas, I think, it's just a manipulative tool that certain people want to use to try to manipulate people and make them angry when they shouldn't even be angry.
Yeah, especially around Christmas. Lindsay, what's your favorite part of the season?
I love kind of like Aaron, and how do I follow Mary's description of it? That's just fantastic. It really is the transition of I like closing out the year, just celebrating, remembering back over what has happened, and then we get that fresh start at New Year's, right? So, but again, like the smells, the exchanging of gifts, or just like the togetherness that you get with friends and family, and the magic that was spoken about. People seem to be a little bit more nice, or a little bit more forgiving and kind. So I think that is something that really defines the season for me.
Yeah.
So we unfortunately have to get back into the naughty for a little bit, and not the fun kind of naughty, the annoying kind of naughty. Where did this idea come from? The early 2000s, mid 2000s, we saw, especially Fox News and some of these radio personalities like Rush Limbaugh talking about there's a war on Christmas. They don't want you to be able to celebrate Christmas. So I think we need to unpack this a little bit here. Do you guys remember this whole movement and hearing about this? Mm-hmm. And what do you remember specifically about, what do you remember hearing or seeing or reading? Because I think the people at this table don't really watch Fox News on a regular basis, so that's why I'm kind of asking the question.
My memory is of Donald Trump saying it for the first time and talking about the war on Christmas and how they don't want you to say Merry Christmas anymore, and people rah-rah and getting all upset about it. And that was the goal, was to make people upset. Yeah. and get the right against the left, which is so dumb because we're the United States of America, and to try to separate us.
It worked to his benefit for that election for sure. Do you guys have any memories of hearing about the war on Christmas? And
I don't really remember like a specific event where I heard about it. It just was something that kind of came about when we were, like, I don't know, middle school, high school. And I worked retail through high school and college and like around the holidays. I remember, I worked there for a long time and I knew the regulars. So if I knew that they celebrated Christmas, it was Merry Christmas. If I knew that they were Jewish, it was Happy Hanukkah.
Right.
I'd say Happy Holidays, and I never had a single person get upset with me for saying Happy Holidays. How
Right.
dare I wish them a good holiday season
Right.
and not be specific about the holiday?
Right.
So
What was management's stance on that?
it was
Because that's about
happy-
when it started.
Yeah, it was Happy Holidays, I would say.
Generic, generic
it was,
greeting.
It was generic because, that kind of covers everything from, you think about the holiday season in retail, especially. It starts mid-November. So that covers Thanksgiving to New Year's.
Right.
And, any religious holidays that fall in that period. So,
Like anybody who celebrates holidays, you're celebrating something there.
right.
And the idea of being inclusive being a bad thing, it's so funny. And Casey Weinstein said this in the first season where he was like, equality can sometimes feel like oppression to people who've had the upper hand for so long. Right. And so it's like you being inclusive, you're taking Christmas away from me. No one is trying to take Christmas
Right.
away.
It's not pie. Like if someone takes more, it doesn't mean less for you. It's just, you're just expanding the amount of inclusion.
Exactly.
Now, I would say there would be an issue if a corporate thing said, like, do not say Christmas in any way whatsoever, because it's like, well, that's not being inclusive either.
Right.
If somebody celebrates Christmas and they want to talk about Christmas, I don't see there being an issue. Lindsay, you're a corporate HR person. Do you guys have, I'm sure you've experienced some of that stuff in the past.
I think from my standpoint, and you actually made me think of back when I worked in I worked in like a grocery store. And when people would come through your line, like they would say Happy Holidays or they would say Merry Christmas, and you would just respond in kind to them. Like for me, it didn't really bother me, and it gave me, more options. Like when people started saying more Happy Holidays, it was like, oh, that's just a different way to like wish people well. Cool. It is hard in the corporate sector because, we do really pride ourselves on being in any company that I've worked in, because none of these opinions that I have reflect my employer, just have to say that. But we want to be inclusive and we want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. But I'm not going to like tell someone they can't say Merry Christmas or express their holiday that they celebrate. But we also don't want to make those who don't celebrate our holidays feel like that they can't speak up or bring their whole selves to work and actually like celebrate in kind the way they want to. So in companies that I've been in, we do a good job by recognizing everything. They send out a Kwanzaa message. They send out a Hanukkah message. They send out, all sorts of messages depending on what holiday you're celebrating. So again, I feel like let's acknowledge like the real population of who like exists. It's not just we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate everything. So what's the harm in acknowledging that? Because it exists, right? So I don't know. It seems a little short-sighted to me.
I think we saw the big change in tone with all of this in Obama's presidency, because the right just absolutely hated everything he stood for. And when he did say Happy Holidays, they were like, see, he even said you're not allowed to say Merry Christmas, even though every year he had a Christmas party and he would say Merry Christmas.
There's a White House Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's massive. You can't miss it. Like
at no point in time, and I remember I had a conversation with somebody who I won't throw under the bus, they're not here anyway, but they were like, Obama won't let you say Merry Christmas. And I go, you find me the story or the video where he said that. Right. I go, I'll give you $1 million. And they're like, well, no. And I sent them a video instead where he is saying Merry Christmas. Because look, I get it. Like, if you're like, I think you're trying to be too inclusive, then make that argument. But don't say that people are trying to say you're not allowed to say that. So then these same people would go out to the stores. And you remember seeing this in person and in the news. Somebody would go into Target and they'd say Happy Holidays. And the person would go out of their way to be like, no, Merry Christmas. And it's like, it's Christmas. Like,
right.
You're committing like hatred in vain of the one thing that you swear that you're trying to protect and save.
Right.
It's
a really good way to get on Santa's naughty list, for sure.
You've probably witnessed a lot of naughty people over the years, right?
Yes.
Do you have any men or women who like flirt with you or like, ooh, I've been naughty this year?
We flirt shamelessly with people.
I love it.
When
Like you ever thought of coming back to the North Pole and I don't know.
when we were with the Browns, they would come and I would invite the guys to sit on my lap. The women would sit on Santa's lap, and I would invite them. Oh no, I'm too big, I'm too heavy, and go, oh, get over here, I can handle it. And we would flirt and tease and kid around. Sometimes we'll have a brother and sister come up to us. And we'll say, "Is that your wife?" And oh no, that's my sister. Oh, I thought it was your wife. And we just kid around.
So you're single.
The regular Santas don't always do that.
Yeah.
They're more, more staid in their answers. But we kid around and flirt all the time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and we have fun with the people. And then, we had 4 college guys come up, and they wanted to do the Ohio. So we have pictures of us doing the Ohio with the guys,
Nice.
and or they say, okay, now a funny face one, and so we'll all go, and we'll we kid around with everybody.
That's
and
fantastic.
Make it fun.
But I mean, that would be my first instinct is go up to Mrs. Claus and be like, I've been so naughty this year.
And I would have you right on my lap and have you tell me about it. Tell me all about it, honey.
We are mixing some nice with the naughty right now, and I'm loving every second of it. Speaking of nice, what is your favorite Christmas or holiday movie?
Well, I love the new one that just came out, Spirited, with Ryan Reynolds
It was
and
really good.
Octavia Spencer and Will Ferrell. Very fun, wonderful messages, great dancing, great singing, and very unique. I've really, really enjoyed it. A Christmas Story, naturally. It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite
say
Christmas
every
movie.
line in that movie. I've seen it so many times.
It's a Wonderful Life isn't just a great Christmas movie. It's a great movie.
It's a
I
moral,
love that
good
movie
moral message.
so much.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
National Lampoon Christmas Vacation.
I mean, it's a classic.
Such a classic.
Yes.
My family, I mean, probably from the time that my parents felt we were old enough for that type of humor.
Yes.
We've watched it every year.
Right.
I love that movie.
Lindsay and I got to see the RV.
Oh, did
Yes.
Eddie's
At Castle
RV.
Noel.
Yeah.
In
That's
Medina.
so cool.
Go if you haven't. They've got so much movie memorabilia
Oh, yes,
Oh, that
I've been
sounds
there.
really
from
fun.
Christmas movies, and oh my gosh, so cool. Worth it.
Yeah, that's probably it. If we're talking Hanukkah movies, Rugrats Hanukkah.
Rugrats.
I'm not even kidding. You can ask
about that one.
not that like, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, but like you can ask pretty much any Jew and they'll be like, oh yeah, Rugrats Hanukkah is the best.
I honestly had
It's
no
so
idea
good.
what you were going to say because I'm like, I can't even think of a Hanukkah movie. There was the one Adam Sandler, animated
song.
one.
My parents saw that in the theater and said they almost walked out.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
So bad, yeah.
So,
Sorry, Adam Sandler.
sorry, Adam Sandler. I adore you. I adore you. The Hanukkah song is the best.
Lindsay, I think I know which one's your favorite, but I want to hear.
So I think I'm tied with 2. Old classic, just because I'm obsessed with all things. Peanuts, Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh, yes.
I could say that entire movie. I actually have the little tree that wasn't so bad.
sad
that
little
is,
tree.
Is it back here?
It's right there.
He's right there. Him back behind us with his little ornament, or the ornament should be on it.
I hate the movie
with
because
Linus's little blankie wrapped around it. So that one always. And then Elf. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
one is just it. I
sit
would watch
on
it.
a throne of lies.
It's just so well written. Like it's really
We
really
constantly quote it. Bye,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
Where'd you find your dad? Like,
good. Well, and they
always.
blended like some other ones that are still
Yeah,
on my
like the
list.
Rudolph one is.
the old Rankin Bass.
Rankin Bass ones, yes.
Yeah, Rudolph,
So like
all
they
that.
had the stop motion aspect
Yeah.
to it, which was a really cool callback. And
That was Jon Favreau's first big dive into directing, where he wasn't just making a movie with his buddies. And the way he pitched it, I don't know if you guys have
the
ever
movies
seen
that
the
made
making.
us.
Yeah, he pitched it
the
as
Christmas
basically
movies that
like,
made
I'm
us
going
on
to take
Netflix.
everything that makes nostalgic Christmas movies work and put it into this. And I mean, it just did.
Pay it off.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love watching that movie, especially when I decorate, because it's so freaking festive. It's got all the right songs, and
Right.
other than "Baby It's Cold Outside," but that was a conversation for
I was
another
gonna say, I
day.
have very
I
complicated
like that
feelings
song.
about that
About
song.
that last
I-
season.
I've
Check
never
out
seen
season
anything
1.
wrong with that song. I think it's
I mean,
cute.
it's definitely rapey. It's definitely rapey. But I understand now, knowing that you're trying to bang all the football players, why you like that song. Come on. My lap's getting cold.
Call back to our films and art that's offensive. Like back then, it wasn't.
Right.
The culture, it wasn't. Now we look at it with a different lens. But do we throw it out?
I say
I
no.
still love it. It's very
They did a
catchy.
cute parody of it where she's saying, "I really must go," and they goes, "There's the door."
Yeah.
And
Did you
and they-
sign your consent form?
I'm not stopping you. Go right ahead.
Give me your mom's number. All right, back to the crappy stuff. Like I said, we'll keep sprinkling in like snowflakes of beauty, the nice parts. The crappy part is Christmas really even a Christian holiday anymore? I mean, I think that's up to the individual. In a large way, it is very much an American holiday. It is an American, almost nationalist holiday, because the things that they say, like, oh, they're trying to cancel Christmas, no one's trying to cancel it. You couldn't cancel it if you wanted to. Right. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry trying to sell not just Christmas stuff, but stuff around the holidays that people are going to buy. So, and when things happen like the Starbucks cup that comes out and says like holidays and people lose their shit. Do you really think that's a moralistic like trend? We talked about before. Are corporations moral? Not at all. No. They're going to do what they think makes the most sense.
Right.
And think about like they see it as, well, listen, if we say Merry Christmas, we might lose some customers or piss some people off. So let's do the safest thing possible and boil it down to Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys remember the cups, right?
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
What color or what design was on it or
but
something.
I don't ever remember them saying Merry Christmas on the cup. So people
No,
were
they
like,
didn't. They said Happy
right.
Holidays.
And so
Yeah.
people were like, oh, they say Happy Holidays now. I'm like, they've always said Happy Holidays
Yeah.
from forever.
Looking for a problem that isn't there.
Exactly.
Just to get offended about it.
And the older I get, the less I care about the presents.
Sure.
It's one of the best presents I got last year was my granddaughter, who is a teenager now, 13. So she knows everything. And she wrote me a letter about everything that she likes about me or loves about me and thanking me for taking them on vacation or, whatever. And she just wrote it on a piece of notebook paper, and then I framed it. And that, to me, means more than if she would have gone to the store and bought me something for $20 or $5 or $2, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just feel like the older I get, the less I care about the price on something or.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and kind of what you were talking about, Matt, like how Christmas is like very Americanized in this like capitalistic way. Like to me, because I don't really do the Jesus thing. It's
But
not
Jesus
like,
was a Jew.
do you know how many?
I'm just joking.
That's a whole other
That's a
can
whole
of
other
worms.
podcast.
Hold on,
Yes,
making notes.
Yes, he was a Jew. No, but I just mean like, everyone's like, oh, but he's the reason for the season. Like, first of all, I don't even do all of that. And I'm pretty sure he was born in the summer.
Yeah.
Second of all, Christmas is based on a pagan holiday.
Thank
We
you.
commercialized a pagan holiday.
Yes.
It's Yule.
Like a lot of people, I don't think realize how much of Christmas is taken directly out of paganism. So like the tree itself,
Yeah.
like the celebration of light and all that's pagan. The date is about the winter solstice. It has nothing to, like historians have said, because of this, like where the stars were in the sky and all that, like this was probably spring or summer.
Right.
The Yule log, a lot of the traditions, a lot of the songs that we sing are very based in some of those pagan rituals. It was the original war on Christmas was the Puritans in the 17th century. They wanted Christmas celebrations to go away because they were like, this is evil. You are celebrating and worshiping essentially the devil and witchcraft because of all of your traditions. And it wasn't until England really adopted a lot of this stuff. And they started to go, oh, okay, well, I guess it's okay if they're doing it because, England's very religious and all this. I mean, the Christmas that we know, and at least the parts that as a society we know, it's not a Christian holiday so much. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it's like you celebrate what you celebrate. Christmas isn't important to everybody, but it should be.
Well, and running around trying to force people into it is like the least Christ-like thing I can think of. So.
Right. And it's not very festive either.
No.
There's nothing to get me in the
Bunch of
Christmas
Scrooges.
spirit.
Knock it off.
Right.
As long as there's good cookies, this is all
Right.
that matters.
My
Yeah.
God. I love Christmas cookies so much.
I do too. Yeah.
And Lindsay doesn't bake them, so I'm coming over to your guys' house this year.
Well, I'm going to a cookie exchange this year, so my mom makes good cookies.
Hey, we're making Buckeyes next weekend. That's
you guys
our
make
holiday
Buckeyes.
tradition. So
I'm in.
the peanut butter balls and the
Oh,
chocolate.
I know. Oh,
yeah.
I know exactly what
I
Buckeyes
feel like
are.
I have to explain them. I moved from out of Ohio, so I have to explain it all the
In
time.
Ohio, everybody knows what
Everybody
Buckeyes
knows.
are. Yeah.
But yeah, like going back to what you're saying, everyone kind of celebrates what they want. So I grew up, my mom is Jewish and my dad grew up Catholic. He's probably more spiritual than anything at this point. But so we did Christmas and Hanukkah and all of the Jewish holidays. And I swear to you, my mom is the biggest Christmas fan. She loves Christmas.
I
She does the
believe it.
decorating, but it's not about like the birth of Jesus. It's
Right.
the winter solstice
Yeah.
and celebrating family and the end of the year. She's the magic maker. No offense, Dad, but she's the magic maker.
I have to say, most of the people who I'm friends with who are not Christian, who are from different religions, are all about Christmas music. I know a lot of people who were, a lot of guys who I used to work with were Muslim, and they celebrated Christmas with their kids.
Yeah.
They didn't, and I mean, they believe in Jesus as a prophet kind of thing, but like they celebrate it more from the idea of like Santa and gifts and
Right.
like the music and the cookies and like, who doesn't love that shit?
Right.
Yeah.
We had one little boy last week that came up with he had a T-shirt that was a Christmas tree and a Santa and a menorah, and he wished us a happy Chrisica. And his dad was Jewish and his mom was Christian or whatever, and they celebrate Chrisica.
I love it.
We do that in our house. So we, with our son, we have our Christmas tree and we decorate all of that and we celebrate with the family. But then we also have a menorah and he helps us, light the candles and he does his best with the Hebrew prayers. But yeah, so we like having our blended interfaith family.
If it's about love and family and sharing and being
And
kind to each
tradition
other,
and-
and
yeah.
who cares what you call
Exactly.
it?
Exactly.
Because the traditions have changed over time. I mean, when you talk to like your parents or their parents about the traditions they remember as being young, they're very different for the most part of what today's Christmas looks like as far as like the traditions that you do and the rituals that you do. So they're constantly changing. To have this idea that like there's a war on this, it's like it's not even the same thing to everybody because
Right.
generations, cultures, everything.
I had a silver tree with a color wheel that changed the color of the tree because it was made out of tinfoil. Did you have one of those?
No.
No.
Sounds pretty.
That sounds really fun,
Look it
though.
up. That's what I had growing up. We had a silver, like made out of tinfoil tree, and there was a color wheel that had 4 different colors on that spun, and it put color on the tree.
That's awesome.
And that was big back in the 60s or 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
People used to go like door to door caroling a lot
Yeah.
more.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
see
I've
a lot
done
of that.
I've done that.
Well, and like with, I think, keeping with the theme, the war on Christmas, if you like midnight mass, if you like going to church and singing on Christmas Eve and things like that, we're not saying take that away from you, but that's the way in which you choose to celebrate, and that there is this broader meaning of Christmas to other folks. And just because it might not be the same way that you view it doesn't make it wrong or bad, or that we're coming for your traditions or, the way that you choose to celebrate. And I think that there just needs to be some broader understanding, across these groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mary shared her favorite gift. Do you guys remember whether as a kid or in more recent times, what your favorite gift that you ever received or gave was for Christmas? I have one that always stands out. When I was 9 years old, my parents bought me like a 18-speed bike. And there's still a picture of me wearing like the most ill-fitting pajama matching set with like the weird crotch kind of thing. It's all droopy. And I'm just like in shock because I kept asking my parents, are you going to get me a bike? And they did a good job because they were like, no, we can't afford one this year. Sorry, Matt. And I'm like, damn it, inflation. Like I didn't. There's still a picture out there somewhere. I'll see if I can't find it for this episode.
I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything. I do remember for Christmas when I was 16, I got my first cell phone. And that was a very exciting time in Aaron's life. It was that like Nokia brick phone. You know which one I'm talking about? You could play Snake on it.
Yep.
It was like the newest technology at the time. And it was like my burgeoning social life as a teenager. It was one of the best gifts I think I've ever gotten.
That was when we got cell phones because we were allowed to drive.
Yes.
And it was like, here, in case there's an emergency, not of these, and no offense, parents who get their children electronics, but like there was nothing before that. So
no, you got a quarter and you could call from the payphone.
That's when you could. Time.
That's when parents would buy their kids phones that only could call them or 911 too.
Yeah.
Like
and
that
text
was
messaging costs like 5 cents.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
You didn't text.
No.
You did not, because you were still paging people.
It also took forever
Right in
because you did the
boobs.
like T9.
T9.
Oh my God.
Dating ourselves.
Yeah, I know.
Getting old.
My good God. Mary, you shared your favorite gift. Do you have one that you think was your favorite, like that you gave somebody?
That I gave.
Are you a good gift giver?
Yes, I am. But I think my favorite was my parents had always wanted to, they never went anywhere. I mean, once a week in Wisconsin was a vacation and that was it. They never traveled. They never did anything. We didn't have a lot of money. And they, after I got married, I gave them, I bought a getaway, a 3-day getaway to Las Vegas. And they love to gamble, which in retrospect, I should not have done because it opened a can of worms. It never got closed again. But I bought them this package to go to Las Vegas, and I created a scavenger hunt in my house where they had to find a clue and then find the other clue and another clue and another clue until they found the box. And then inside the box was another box, and inside the box was until they got to the envelope with the tickets.
I love that.
That
That's
was
so
cool.
nice.
Unfortunately, they wanted to go to Vegas every year after that, and
they're still there.
I come from a family of compulsive gamblers, so in retrospect, it wasn't the best idea. But
Your heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
yes, my heart
Good
was in the
intention.
right place.
Yeah, you were saying it earlier, like you don't care about the presents anymore. The older you get, at least for me, it's like the more I enjoy giving good gifts.
Right.
And like your daughter, like I enjoy like really like putting thought into it and making like the present opening experience is the coolest part of the present usually. And that's why I think like it's not so much about like the gift and the price tag on it, but like seeing someone's reaction to it or like doing it in a way that you make it fun where they're opening thing after thing after thing. Yeah. Like that's just awesome. I still love doing that stuff. Aaron, since you're the only person we have to call out here who wasn't necessarily raised like Christian, did it ever bother you if somebody said Merry Christmas, or does it feel good if somebody says Happy Holidays? Do you feel more included? Like to the person who it actually affects?
Like if it's just a random person, like a cashier at a grocery store, I don't care. I don't think my mom, I mean, again, my mom is Jewish. She's never been bothered. So it doesn't really matter to me if they say Happy Holidays. You know, it's nice. I know that they're trying to be inclusive. If someone knows me personally and they say, oh, Happy Hanukkah, like that means a lot to me because they're making the effort to give me like a personalized holiday greeting. This is kind of a tangent, but one of the things, so my dad's family is Catholic and my grandmother's cousin was a priest, and we would go to church for Christmas and Easter Mass with my Catholic grandparents. And he would always come up to my mom and say Happy Hanukkah if we were at Christmas Mass, or if we were at Easter, he'd say Happy Passover. And that to me just meant so much because he didn't have to do that. It wasn't, we were coming into his religious building. And
Right.
it just again, being inclusive just to be kind
Right.
and not because you like it's politically correct or whatever. It's just the right thing to do and the kind thing to do.
Right.
It just means a lot when it's sincere.
I think the problem is the people who are, again, pounding that drum of there's a war on Christmas are the ones who want to say loud and proud that the United States is a Christian nation. And while a large makeup of the country might buy into Christianity or be Christian in some form or fashion, separation of church and state. Like, we're not a Christian nation. And so what you're talking about, Christmas, if anything, is the secular version of Christmas that maybe some people are just saying it'd be nice to kind of include these other things too. Because Jews shop at Christmas time too, right?
Yeah, we do. I mean,
You heard it here.
we have 8 nights of gifts. Not that they're, I have to dispel this. Everyone always was like, oh, you're so lucky. You get 8 nights of presents.
It's
I'm
all
like,
socks.
We get like socks.
Yeah.
Right.
And like books and like CDs when CDs were a thing.
Right,
and like
right.
those are great things.
Compact disc
Yeah,
for
but
those
it's-
Gen Zers listening.
Yes, you used to put them in a machine and they'd play your music.
We really have to do you think Gen Zers are listening to us?
They're growing. Hey, they showed up at this past election, so like I have a lot of faith in them. I think
Yeah,
that they're in it.
They just won't listen to podcasts.
I believe the children are our future.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Did you come up with that yourself?
I did. You can just put Aaron Arroyo and then the great Whitney Houston.
Okay.
We always go out and buy about $300 worth of toys, and then we give them to Good Neighbors or one of those organizations where they have specific families that come.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that last week and this time we made our 2 youngest grandkids who are teenagers, and we made them go with us and said, take $20 of your own money and add it to what we're spending, and we're going to go. And we bought $300 worth of toys and then brought them over to Good Neighbors and took a picture, laid them all out and took a picture with them so that they're starting now to get the idea about giving and not just getting.
Right.
Because I see that a lot in the younger generation. They're not used to giving. They're used to getting.
Right.
Yeah, and I like for me that is what Christmas and the holiday
Yeah.
season is about. It's just giving and offering kindness and warmth and family to people who may not necessarily have that otherwise.
I guess one thing I can say about corporate, it brings everyone together, and we don't think about Christmas or who's celebrating what, is when we do the adopt a family, kind of like you said, Mary, where some companies I've worked at have done it more company wide. Where I am now, we do it more team based. We'll adopt and just kind of do within our own team. But I remember when I was working in a large corporation here in the area several years ago, they had these trees that you could go into the main lobbies and just pick things off of from different families, and then we would bring them wrapped, and they would fill these side like conference rooms or side areas, little bays, and the amount of gifts that showed up that were wrapped, and it was just, we could see as a corporate community what we were doing for these families, and they all had a little story on who were the folks receiving, what did everyone want, and usually the parents, said new socks or, toiletries and things like that. And then, you had the kids run the gamut from like a coloring book to a PS5 or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but that is just something that I think also brings that spirit of the holidays together, to see like we have so much, a lot of us, like to give to those who are really in need, and to make their Christmases and their holidays just amazing. So yeah.
Speaking of amazing, what is your favorite Christmas song? Because even, like I said, even people who don't celebrate Christmas love Christmas music, because Christmas music is its whole own genre. No other holiday has that kind of like batch of music dedicated directly to it. My favorite is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. If it's done right, like Frank Sinatra or like Judy Garland, the original one, it's somber, it's happy, it's sad, it's like all these emotions, and it kind of like sums up how you feel at the end of the year. I don't know. What are your guys' favorite Christmas songs?
I like We Need a Little Christmas right this very minute. Candles in the window, carols at the spinet. That one.
Who is that? Who's the original person who sang that?
Originally, it was from Mayhem, the musical Auntie Mayhem.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Andy
Williams?
Andy Williams sang it.
Don't know why I know that.
That's the one you'd hear on the radio. But originally it was from the musical version of Mayhem. When
Andy Williams
it's
is
not
like
Christmas, but
Yeah.
they're depressed. And so
Right.
she goes, we need a little Christmas. And they start decorating the house.
Oh, I think
I have no idea.
that is like that should be the title of this episode. But,
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Mine is the Christmas song by Nat King Cole, like the
Okay.
Nat King Cole
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
It is everything Christmas.
For those of you who are like,
it's-
what song? Chestnuts Roasting on
Yes,
an Open.
sorry.
Which was sung and made famous by Nat King Cole, but it was written by Mel Torme
Yep.
and also made famous by Mel Torme.
Yeah,
So
but the
you got to ask the old people about the old songs.
the Nat King Cole version, my dad had this CD again of like the classics, like Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, of Christmas songs. And we'd listen to it every Christmas morning. And that song, it just like, it gets me
Yeah.
in the feels. Is that what the kids say these days?
Yeah, in the
I don't know.
fields. I don't know. That's probably what like the 20-year-old kids are saying.
Probably what the kids said like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I like when I think of those songs like Nat King Cole and Andy Williams and stuff, I remember listening to that on a record player,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that that sucks about technology is I miss hearing the crackling of the needle,
Right, right.
like
What's becoming hot again? The
Yeah.
kids are
Yeah,
into
it's true.
the vinyl now.
for sure.
But when I decorate my tree, I listen to Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That's also classic.
It is. It is.
Lindsay,
remember
what's your
that.
favorite Christmas song?
I'm going to circle it back around to Andy Williams, the holiday season or the holiday song. That I love that one because it's just like fun. It kind of moves along. But I'll also say, shout out to my mom. She always had that Kenny G Christmas CD playing, like growing up for our Christmas Eve things. Like sometimes you just need some instrumental Christmas songs, But yeah, that's a fun one. I really like the kind of like Rat Pack era for the Christmas songs. That's probably my favorite.
All of their Christmas versions were fantastic. Christmas music is definitely a big part of it. At the time of recording, I've not yet allowed myself to listen to Christmas music, but in like 3 days, I'll be there. I'll be there. Just for now, it's like they start playing it, I feel like Halloween Day anymore.
Yeah.
It's too early. Let us enjoy each holiday, like Thanksgiving, for at least a couple of days, and then we can talk Christmas.
I gave in. I also put up my tree and all my decor. So, the
You
world is kind of garbage, and I needed something happy, and that makes me happy. So
I
I will
play
do
it when I'm
Thanksgiving
getting
for the next
dressed.
couple of days.
When I'm putting this on,
Yeah.
I'm playing my Christmas music
I
while
think
I'm
we
putting
just
this
wrote
on.
our own song like, the world is garbage, jingle, 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 and we need a little Christmas, jingle, jingle, jingle. You add jingle bells on any song, and it's suddenly like that much happier too. It's
True.
You could sing about climate change gonna kill us all, ding, jing, ding, jing. Fine with it.
You wanna be where I be, got me stuck on a feeling. It's the holiday season. Got the snowflakes on your eyelashes, looking like my winter wish tonight.
The festive music you've been hearing in this episode is our musician spotlight of Christmas, Mayhem Music, with their Christmas collection of different artists such as DJ Skrilla, Janae, Wesley Bright, and Steph Trivison. Mayhem Music producers include Dan Solovitz, Brian Casey, Chris Harris, and Owen Chang. Right now, you're listening to Winter Romance, performed by Janae and produced by Mayhem Music's Dan Solovitz. You can find them on Instagram at Mayhem Music Production.
Caroling and silver bells, taking in a cinnamon smell. Anything can happen. It's the holiday magic. Hope our hearts stay warm enough to keep all this holiday love. Got me stuck on a feeling.
So I'm going to take things to the other side. While I am all about people being inclusive, and we all know that the war on Christmas is bullshit, I do think that sometimes we overcorrect and sanitize things too much. There's a classic South Park episode. So this was late 90s, and I think it was either their first or second Christmas episode that they ever did, and they put on a school play. And someone's like, oh, that's offensive. We got to take that out. And by the end, it is just this like piece of garbage that has no ties to any holiday.
The Christmas
and
tree.
It's like Philip Glass music in the background just going boom, 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 boom. And they're just
I
like
stare
spinning.
into the sun.
Yeah, like-
and it hurts my
Like
eyes.
stars are offensive to me. Like that kind of stuff. I think it's okay. So you have a young kid. I mean, you know, if he was at school and they were going to do like a Christmas activity, would you be like, that's offensive? That's weird?
Well, he's at a Jewish preschool, so yes, that would be a little odd. But no, I mean, no, I don't think so. So again, going back to when we were in school, Lindsay and I were actually in choir together, and I'm pretty
We
sure
went to school together since we were like little teeny people.
Yeah, we were like 8.
Yeah, I don't think that you gave that. We didn't really give that background. But
we
yes,
go way
we've known
back.
each other for a long time.
But you know, I'm pretty sure that my sister and I were the only even remotely Jewish kids in the entire school.
Probably.
But we always did a Hanukkah song at the holiday concert.
We did.
Always.
We did. Yep.
Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel.
Or Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come.
Yeah, we did that one.
That one.
We were like, on this night,
Yep.
let us like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Anna had a solo in that.
Oh yeah. Nostalgia. Okay.
Hi Anna.
But had we not done a Hanukkah song, I don't think I would have even noticed or cared, because again, we're the only ones.
And I think there's a big difference too between like doing a nativity scene and doing something that has Christmas themes in it, right?
Well, my daughter teaches in a Cleveland public school, and they have to do holiday.
Yeah.
And they don't do Halloween anymore. It's a fall festival.
Oh.
And everything has to be generic. I'm clogging up. I should.
Yeah, drink some water. Mrs. Claus tied one on last night and chain smoked a couple packs of cigs, and now she's just trying to deal with the
judgment.
aftermath.
Mrs. Claus needs a shot of tequila to clear her throat.
We could make that happen.
But yeah, everything is generic. You know, it's a winter festival. It's a fall festival. They don't do a lot of Christmassy things or anything.
And I have mixed feelings about that because, again, like I said, if they were talking about doing the baby Jesus kind of thing, yeah, that's problematic. But Santa Claus, I mean, wasn't Santa Claus in like Miracle on 34th Street? Like he was celebrating different holidays and stuff and talking to kids in different languages. Right. I think the idea of Christmas, at least American Christmas, goes above and beyond any single religion or view. So like, I'm okay with people having some Christmas themes and things. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like it's a little too sanitized at times.
I kind of feel like inclusion for inclusion's sake can go a little far sometimes. Like when you take something that is clearly meant to be Christmassy and you just like Hanukkah-ize it or like sanitize it. Like we know.
Right.
We know that you're just trying. Like it's just go full Christmas if you're going to do that. Like
But I might disagree just a tiny bit, because I think there are parts of our culture where we are. So one thing that popped into my head is look at one of like the biggest melting pots of our country in New York City, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Who closes it out? Santa and his sleigh. And that is one of the most diverse places that we have, with different religions and beliefs and probably a crap ton of atheists and like people who don't even think about religion. But that is still a symbol that like ushers us into this season. And I mean, yeah, some people might get like upset about it, but I feel like for the most part, it's pretty exciting, and people are, all the kids are like screaming, and it's just like such a great thing. So like that is as a key thing, I think, in our culture shows that we are still, somewhat open to that piece of it, even if we are different religions celebrating different holidays.
But the Thanksgiving parade is a commercial product. And I think that's the difference is, we're weird about it in schools and education and in public forum when it has anything to do with government and stuff, which I'm all for the separation of church and state, but that's what I'm kind of saying is, that's a corporate money grabbing thing. I mean, it's always been that way, but we can't do any Christmas themed stuff for the kids. I think there's a way where you can be inclusive, but also not overcorrect, where you are like, hey, it'd be cool if you guys want, should we do Santa Claus for this thing? Should we sing a Christmas song at the holiday festival or whatever it is? I don't know. Because it's not all about Christianity. It really isn't, to me.
No, and I think that there's a way too, because I feel like going back to like the whole war on Christmas, I feel like a lot of these people who feel that this is a thing haven't been exposed to people of other religions and who celebrate these other things. So like, even if you don't call it a holiday party or what have you, like if you want to do a Santa or a Christmas tree project, cool. Maybe also do a menorah project just to teach kids about other religions and other cultures, because again, a lot of them aren't getting it at home and probably hearing terrible things about some of those people at home.
I mean, that's such a big problem, because they, being raised in an evangelical household, like they don't want you to know stuff about other religions and cultures, which is crazy, because there's a way to learn about it and respect it, even if you're like, I'm not going to buy into it or change my opinion, whatever. Like the idea of like information ever being bad is just silly. Why would you stop your kid from learning something? Because they are going to go out in the world and it's like, I only know how to talk about Jesus. You're setting them up for failure, right?
Yeah. Throughout school, my sister and I were pretty much the only Jewish kids in our entire school, maybe in the district. So if they didn't know us and didn't experience any Jewish stuff with us, they didn't know any Jews. Like, yeah,
that is sad. And I know, because I went to the same school. I mean, we had one Jewish kid in our grade, and we harassed her like crazy. So, I'm kind of saying this to young Matt, like, stop being an asshole. Just let people do their thing, Not everybody has to believe what you believe in. But speaking of belief, if you're letting your kids listen to this show, first of all, what the hell's wrong with you? Secondly, this is the time to turn them away, because we're going to talk about Santa Claus here for a moment. Do you remember at what age you either A, were told that the truth about Santa, or B, what you taught your own kids? Like my mom never really let us buy into it, because it was under the idea that Jesus is the reason for the season. You cannot, Santa is Satan mixed around, that kind of bullshit. But my dad was very magical about stuff. So but I think by kindergarten I thought, which is sad, because I'm glad I'm not that person in middle school who was still buying into stuff. But do you remember, you're going to say, Santa's real, Matt?
For me, I don't remember, but with my grandkids, like I say, I have 5, and the 2 youngest are teenagers now. And one of the things that I always told them was, I will never lie to you. But we kept the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and Santa alive in their beliefs. And then, let's see, she's 13 now, so I'd say 3 years ago, my granddaughter came up to me and said, is Santa real? Because they knew we do Santa. And we went to Santa University, and we trained to be Santa's helper. And we got FBI checked, and we got all these things to make us legitimate professional, and told the kids, we are Santa's helpers, and here's a picture of him giving us our diploma and all that, And she said, is Santa real? And I finally had to explain. And then you said you'd never lie to me. And I said, but this is different. Now it's your turn to make magic for the little kids. And it's different about me lying about something, that's reality versus keeping magic of Christmas alive for when you're little.
Yeah.
And but even now, she'll throw it up at me once in a while just to get me. She'll go, yeah, but you said you'd never lie to me. But yeah, it's when a kid comes up to us and will ask my husband, are you the real Santa Claus? He'll go, well, do I look real? And he's got a real beard, and so he'll let him tug the beard and stuff like that, and doesn't really answer, but lets them figure that out. But
because
it's a tough one.
You only get one childhood where you have that innocence, and as soon as it's gone, my God, then you start to be like, the world's not magical. It's shitty. It's a horrible place.
Well, that's where we tell them now it's your turn to be Santa for the little kids. So we're officially designating you as Santa's helper now.
That's great. Does your son believe in Santa?
Oh, I don't really know.
What is it? The Hanukkah aardvark? What is the?
My mom used to joke that it was Hanukkah Harry. I've
heard of Hanukkah Harry.
I don't really know. My son is he's a little bit developmentally delayed, so the speech stuff is kind of hard to explain to him. But so we went to visit Santa when he was a year old, and then COVID happened. So he really hasn't had any experiences outside of that.
We ran into a lot of that this year.
He loved Santa when
he
was a baby.
The little ones that really didn't know how to.
We couldn't even get pictures of him because he kept looking back at Santa and smiling. He was so excited. But he likes presents. He likes tearing paper and getting things. So, I'm thinking we're gonna really kind of play into it this year. Like I said, he's gonna be 4 next week. So, when I was a kid, my grandpa used to call us on the phone and pretend to be Santa and ask, he would talk to us about have you been good this year and all this stuff. So I think my dad's probably gonna try to do that too.
That's great.
Because for me, again, it's like you said, it's just the magic of the season.
Yeah.
And I'm closing in on 40, and my mom and dad still write from Santa on some of my gifts, because it's just
fun.
that holiday feeling. Yeah. So we will do Santa. But again, if he asks us, we'll be straightforward and explain. Santa is kind of an idea. It's a spirit of the season that
when
everybody.
He's little, you can still say he's real, but then when you get to be middle school, then
I don't. Yeah, at this point, I don't think he cares as long as he can eat some of the cookies we're going to leave out, and he gets presents. So.
Lindsay, how old were you when you stopped believing?
That's a great question. I don't remember. I feel, because I'm the oldest of 3, I want to say I feel like one of my brothers, I bet Eric probably figured it out. I think, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but for some reason I'm having a memory of, I think one of my brothers, I think it was Eric, was just like, hey, doesn't Santa's signature and from mom look the same? And he kind of put it together, and we were like, oh shit, yeah, it does. My poor mother staying up until all hours of the night wrapping these millions of presents because we were spoiled rotten as children. But that was all her. That fell totally on her, but she was probably midnight and she's just scribbling and bless her heart. But yeah, I was probably older than I should have been because I think my younger brother figured it out.
That's fantastic. I could see that. I could see your mom trying to let that go on for as long as possible.
Well, why not? It's so fun. I was just with Chelsea, who's been on one of the episode 4, and her daughter Lily, and we were at the botanical gardens going around all the Christmas trees and stuff, and was like, what are you asking Santa for? And she's like, oh my gosh, Santa. And she was just all excited about it. It's just so fun to see it through the little kids' eyes for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I want to go out on this last question to everybody before I share my final thoughts. What is your hope for this holiday season? I feel like hope has been something that's been harder to get to and obtain over the last few years, especially with COVID and experiencing holidays in a very new and strange way that was not great. And we're still kind of coming out of the end of that. But what's your personal hope for this season?
Now that the midterms are over, I would love for us to just stop talking about politics for a little while and just enjoy the season for the rest of the year and not right away go take a step forward into politics again. I would like to let's all just be united, if not just for 2 months, just cool it on the politics for a while and do something nice for somebody. Find some family, some young single mother who's struggling, or some kid that just got out of foster care or something. Find somebody to do something nice for. Don't pretend to be into the Christmas spirit and then be a jerk on the highway and not let somebody in when they need to switch lanes. It's be Santa without the suit.
Yeah,
I love that.
I like that.
Is the North Pole a democracy? Because I heard it was
No,
like
it's a
socialist
dictatorship.
communism. Yeah.
It's a dictatorship.
Because
yes.
the elves aren't actually like, they're not a different race. They've just so malnourished that they've turned into these like very short creatures.
Yes, it's definitely a dictatorship, and I'm the power behind the throne.
Of course.
And so he pretty much does what I tell him to do, but nobody knows that really.
Yeah.
So
We'll cut that out of this episode.
we won't tell.
We don't want to let out the secret. How about you guys?
For me, I mean, like I mentioned, we just moved back to the area a couple months ago, so we're going to be able to spend the holidays with family for the first time in a while, between the distance and COVID and all of that. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also really hoping that my little triangle family, that we can start our own traditions, that we can continue to do moving forward, whether that involves, my parents and my sister and her fiance, like all of that. But I just want to start something new. I love our old traditions, but it just feels like it's time for us to kind of start something just for us. So that's my hope, that we can find something that we can do in the coming years.
Yeah, I think my hope, and just because it's at this time, but right before Thanksgiving, I'm seeing a lot of shift in the way that we're messaging Thanksgiving from like a social media perspective, like eat what you want, body positivity. Like, how about for Christmas, we not focus so much on the consumerism of it, but let's focus on doing good things for ourselves and for others. And, like everyone has said, like get the spirit, do things for others out of a kind and generous heart, to be the Santa without the suit. I think that should be a challenge that we give everyone, is be the Santa without the suit, and giving feels so much more fulfilling and just, I think, rewarding than thinking more internally about yourself. So
Yeah, no, I like that.
let's change the narrative a
don't
little
put
bit.
yourself under so much pressure.
Yes.
The perfect tree, the perfect clean
Yes.
house, the
It
perfect
doesn't
meal,
exist.
the perfect. The kids are all dressed perfect, and they hate they're itchy and they don't want that sweater on, and but no, they have to look perfect because grandma and grandpa are coming over.
Right.
You make yourself crazy.
Right. Or I
So-
can't have this dessert, or I can't have this drink or this food because I put on 5 pounds since
Right.
Thanksgiving. Like, be kind to everyone and yourself, and just enjoy.
Worry
I think we
about
all
it after
deserve
the
it.
new year.
We all deserve it. We
Right.
all just deserve a break. So take that break.
Right.
Yes.
Make that resolution you're not going to
Yes.
keep.
That extra
Exactly.
padding is good for Ohio winters.
Yeah.
So
Well, first of all, thank you so much, everybody, for coming here, for sharing in the magic of Christmas and the holidays and Hanukkah, Harry, and all the great things that happen. To our friends who celebrate other holidays, just enjoy the season. I will say that I have hope, and I get hope from this season because it is the one time a year that we act the way that we should be acting the rest of the year. Santa without the suit, it's like live Christmas without the holiday. I mean, you shouldn't have to have this excuse, but I'll take it. Like, one of my favorite things about Christmas is there's so many things and stories and tales and movies that are about this redemption arc. Like It's a Wonderful Life or A Christmas Carol. It's about somebody seeing the goodness in mankind. It's peace on earth and goodwill towards men. I wish we could act like that all the time, but if we can even just do it, like you said, for this short period of time, I'd be thrilled. And I think it's good to believe in a little bit of something bigger than us, whether it's God or Santa or magic or something else. There's magic in the air. Embrace it and just be kind to each other. What is that? It's Santa!
Ho! Merry Christmas, everybody, and happy holidays to all!
Christmas,
Ho!
Christmas.
Ho! Ho!
Christmas, Christmas, almost over. Oh, Christmas season is almost over. Well, I got everything I wanted except for you. Oh, my heart is always aching, so tired anticipating of spending Christmas days and nights with you. Oh, it's almost over.
We just went there. Now you can go to thegoingtherepodcast.com for links to all the podcast platforms, our socials, and of course, YouTube. While you're at it, give us a rating, share with a friend, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out these festive songs by Mayhem Music and these artists on Instagram at Mayhem Music Production.
And I almost made it, but almost doesn't give me more time to spend. Oh, it's almost over. Oh, almost over. Yes, almost over.
I wish every day the winter wind.
This podcast is made possible by its hosts and Frame One Media in association with Lindsay Baker, Joe Calley, and Bobby Thomas.